I am what a child molester looks like. I am what a serial killer looks like. Maybe that's my birth defect. I wasn't even born with feelings. I don't know. Because I've never felt anything about anything. Of course.
Westley Allen Dodd was a predator who fell through the cracks of an inefficient, overburdened legal system, graduating from relatively harmless acts of exhibitionism to the depths of sadistic child molestation and murder before he was finally caged and condemned. Apparently repentant in captivity, he granted countless interviews and published articles on self-defense for children in the months before he kept his final date with Washington's hangman. His legacy, for all of the belated efforts to do right, consists of ugly memories and pain. A native of Washington State, born July 3, 1961, Dodd was conscious of his sexual attraction to neighborhood boys by the age of 9, a full 6 years before his parents divorced and cast the family into disarray. By age 14, he began to dabble in exhibitionism, flashing other children from his bedroom window until one reported him and the police were called. Dodd got off easy that time, since the witness had not seen his face, and the experience taught him to seek his pleasure further afield. In short order, he graduated from exposing himself to more aggressive actions, fondling and filleting any children who were willing to submit. After he finished high school, Dodd enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He was discharged after he was accused of offering money to young boys in exchange for sex on base, but the Navy failed to file criminal charges. In the following years, he was arrested on at least 3 occasions for molesting or attempting to molest children. In '84, Dodd was convicted of sexually abusing a 9-year-old boy, but a judge commuted his 10-year sentence to just 4 months if he promised to attend counseling. Unfortunately, the court-ordered counseling had no effect on Dodd's compulsion to harm children. He later wrote in a court affidavit, quote, "Each time I ended treatment, I continued to molest children. I liked molesting children and did what I had to do to avoid jail, so I continue to do that." End quote. On September 3rd of '89, Dodd wrote of a plan to kidnap and kill a child from David Douglas Park in Vancouver, Washington. He said, quote, "If I can get it home, I'll have more time for various types of rape, rather than just one quickie before murder." End quote. The very next evening, he hid in the bushes along a path in the park and sought out a victim. While he couldn't find a child walking alone, he soon spotted Colnear 11 and his brother William 10. Dodd convinced them to follow him off the path and into the woods, where he bound them with shoelaces and sexually abused them, and then stabbed them to death and fled. Less than 15 minutes later, a teenage hiker found their bodies. Over the next 2 months, Dodd filled a scrapbook with newspaper clippings about the boys' murders, and on October 29th, 1989, he struck again. That day, he drove to nearby Portland, Oregon, and abducted 4-year-old Lee Isley from a playground. He took him back to his apartment, where he molested him multiple times, while photographing him nude. Later that evening, Dodd took young Isley to McDonald's and Kmart, bought him a toy, and then returned home to continually sexually abusing him, and told him when he woke up in the morning he was going to kill him. When morning came, Dodd did indeed kill little Lee, choking him until he was unconscious and then reviving him just to hang him from a rod in the closet. Dodd then photographed his body, then dumped him near Vancouver Lake. Just 2 weeks after killing Lee, Wesley Allen Dodd walked into a movie theater in Conness, Washington for a showing of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He wasn't there to watch the film, though, and as the lights dimmed, he scanned the darkness for his next victim. When he saw 6-year-old James Kirk walking to the restroom alone, he quickly followed him. In the bathroom, Dodd picked up the boy, threw him over his shoulder, and tried to leave the building, but Kirk put up a fight, screaming and hitting Dodd and drawing in witnesses. James Kirk's stepdad Graves caught up to Dodd about a block away and physically hauled him back to the theater, where he and several others detained Dodd until police arrived. Once in custody, Dodd eventually confessed to murdering Isley and the Near brothers, and when police searched his home, they found the photograph of Lee, his Ghostbusters underwear, Dodd's chilling diary, and even the homemade torture rag he started to build. Wesley Allen Dodd's disturbing crimes had finally come to light, and oddly enough, it was Dodd himself who insisted that he deserved the death penalty for his actions. In the end, he got his wish. He was hanged on January 5th, 1993, the first judicial hanging in the United States since 1965. The technique was now so unfamiliar that the executioners had to use an army manual from the 1880s as a guide. Thank you for watching.